So we'll run through the features of the head tracking that we've added to Multi-Tool Prepared. I'll be using OpenTrack for this, so we'll start OpenTrack. Okay, so that's tracking, and then we go to add-ons and turn the head tracking on there. You can also turn it on and off. We can turn it on here as well. The first thing we need to do is zero OpenTrack. So we'll go to the key mapping I've got set up as there. So we'll do that just to do a 0 on it. I've added ordinals, left, right, forward, backward. Now you can get them either from your hat switch pan view, so left, and then your head tracking just carries on from a 90-degree ordinal, right, backward and forward. And so both the numeric keypad and the hat switch will do that for you. Now if we go to a spot view, that's available in the spot view as well. So viewed from the front, back and the wings. Now on the head tracking I've also set up so moving your head up and down will move the chase height up and down as well. There are two sliders for increasing and decreasing the sensitivity of that. So these two sliders here, like if I slide that fully to the left, then small movements in my head have very big movements on the aircraft, and if I slide it fully to the right, a small movement of my head has very little, or a big movement on my head has very little effect. So just find the position that you're happy with. Now if I want to change the zero height where I'm looking at, so I can either use these buttons here and set it to the sort of center height for my head movement, but obviously you don't want the screen up all the time, so you can select either the hat switch or the numeric keypad to do that. So in this case the numeric keypad selected, so that means my hat switch still gives me the ordinals, and my numeric keypad, the up and the down arrows on that, will do that height adjustment, the sort of centre height at which your head movement will then move around. So you can alternate that between the two different controllers. So the XYZ panel view is what we went through earlier on, where we went to the eye point setup and we moved into a close-up of the panel, and for this aircraft that's already been saved. So if we move forward 5 centimetres, then this will lock on to the predefined panel view. If I either move backwards again, it will turn off, or if I move forward outside of that 26 centimetre range, or if I turn left or right more than 30 degrees, it will also terminate that view. So it's a nice quick way of getting a good look at your instruments, nice and steady, and what you've already defined as your instrument view to be. The Y adjustment relative to Z, the way this camera is sitting at the moment, if I move in I sort of end up way too high, just the angle of the camera. So if I turn this on, at the moment it's set to 0, so I'll move my head in as if I was going to look at the instruments, and then I'll move this slider until I get to where I want to be. So that's pretty good there. Go down a bit more. So what it's doing is Z increases, it's subtracting distance off the Y axis, and that can either move the view up or down as you move forward. Many of the axes can be disabled with these tick buttons, just like you could disable them in OpenTrack as well. Zero head tracking is for small offsets, so if, let's say, that's my head is centered and I'm not looking quite straight ahead, I can put a software zero there. I don't recommend that for big offsets. You're better using your OpenTrack or FaceTrack or whatever head tracker zero for large offsets. But this is for sort of small software tweaks, and to clear that offset you just clear that again. Okay, so at present if I turn my head left, that's the direction I'm moving. If I find that counterintuitive, I can click that and the rotation will be the opposite direction. Lock VC heading during takeoff. Personally I find it very distracting during a takeoff roll. If I look off to the side a bit, I find it difficult to tell whether I'm tracking straight down the runway with a view like that. And so with this tipped, once you start rolling, it will lock that left-right panning, and we'll go back to a normal head tracking movement once you're off the ground. So if we get going here, so now I'm moving my head left and right, and the head tracking's having no effect